to realise that there are going to be a lot of ups and downs in this journey. Doesn't have to be. It really does not have to be. But because you are still clinging to the ego thought system, there's going to be the ups and the downs. And the more you cling, the more and more difficult it becomes. That's the hilarious thing about it. And that's why it's important to build the trust, to build the yes, and then everything will be given. And then the lessons are learned very, very simply. So that's what I feel has been happening definitely. Just been saying yes to what comes, because it's always being presented exactly as it needs to be. And the thing is, if you've been waiting around on guidances for future guidances, God, you're in hell. You really, really are. Or, you know, you heard something some time ago and you still haven't done it. It's lingering in the background. The Holy Spirit's waiting for you. And so it starts to become more and more difficult. You start to become down, and you have no clue as to why, but yet it was very simple on your next step, and probably then you've even forgotten what your next step was, because it was inspiring to you, but you chose not to follow your inspiration, because that is dead the opposite of what the ego's thought system is. This world is, we're told that there are ups and downs, there are good and bad, and that is the end of it. But the Course is teaching that joy is inevitable, and that is your natural inheritance. And you're going to have to go through this bit of this wobble as you do your mind training, but eventually you will hit the joy, and you will hit that peace. And I was thinking about this. I don't know why it came to me the other day. It was such a beautiful day, and I went and washed one of the cars, and I was sitting down there in the coffee shop, just watching all the men working. They've been fixing the road, and I don't know. I just felt all this joy. I just felt all this joy around me. It just seemed like everything was just reflecting this beautiful joy. And then Albert Einstein came into my mind. And I thought, wow, isn't it interesting? Most people know who Albert Einstein is. He's probably the most famous scientist ever. With all the equations, all the mathematics, all of the amazing things that he's seemingly done in science. Complete revolutionary, complete mastermind. So many beautiful quotes, so many beautiful sayings come from him, and yet at the end of his life, after all this science, you'd think that would have been the most important thing to him, to understand the completion of the universe, or whatever he was trying to accomplish. But instead, because actual fact what he was doing is, because he was so into what he was doing, he was always just following his inspiration, and inspiration, inspirited, is to find yourself. So the science was just in a way the backdrop, even though it seemed like it was like everything to him. He spent most of his time, he preferred to be on his own a lot of the time, and he would enjoy diving deeply into the matters of the universe. That was his thing. But in actual fact, what he was, is what he didn't realise, is he was actually looking for himself. And the more and more he continued to look, in actual fact, the more and more he found. Because then later his last papers were, and that weren't published for like many years later, were about, he realised that what life was all about happiness, and life was all about love. And that's where he got to. So it's like, in a way, if we use the master scientists, which I'm sure probably most of us will agree, like that's where he got to. And it's like, how the hell did he get there? Through science. I mean, that's just amazing. And so deep down inside, that's what we know. We all feel that. We all know that is the absolute truth. But somehow the outside, the seeming outside world is not is not that. It's like with war, with hate, greed, suffering, what presents itself to us, seemingly presents itself to us, it's how can I be happy within this? How can I float down this stream in what you're telling me? And as we know, well, you're just creating it in your own mind. You want to suffer. That's what you have to look at that. I want to suffer. I am greedy. I am filled with hate. I am filled with war. I'm in a battle with myself. That's the only real war that's going on, is in your mind, right and wrong mind. Okay, that's why I love the course, because it all came back to me. It just pointed back to me. It was like, the problem's you, and the problem's been solved. Oh, that's pretty cool. You've got to remember that the problem's been solved, though. Okay, excellent. That's pretty damn simple. No, it's not outside of you. No, there's no problems outside of you. What do you mean they're not outside of me? They seem that they're outside of me. No, they're not outside. And that's where your resistance comes in. When you believe that it's outside of you. And so really and truthfully, even Albert Einstein didn't get over the finish line in some respects, because he didn't realise that he is the love, and that he is the joy, and he is the happiness, and that he is everything. He believed that he saw that there was stuff that he didn't understand, and everything was completely and utterly interconnected, but he saw it as outside of himself. He's like, oh my God, which freaks us out. When something seems to be outside, it means that it can hurt us. We believe that we need to defend ourselves, and so it's difficult to not live in fear, because it seems like things are actually out of control, but in actual fact it is under Christ's control. Everything's under divine control, and that's what we're coming to. And now we want those beautiful reflections to come at us, to come back at us, to show us how our mind has changed. And so that was for me. I'm just watching a normal scenario that anyone would see. I'm sitting in a coffee shop. It's on a busy main road, so nothing seemingly spectacular. And yet I'm just feeling all this joy. I'm watching the men working, and they just seem all so joyful. And that was just the only thing that could come into my mind. And of course, it wasn't then to do with them. It was to do with my state of mind, was just feeling very, very joyful. And now that becomes my extension. My extension is just, well, I'm just feeling joyful, and whatever's happening. It was actually really funny, because when I washed the car, when I went back to go and get it at the time designated, the boss was very sorry. He said, oh no, one of the boys has gone off to lunch and he's got your key in his pocket. I'm going to have to go and get him. And I was like, don't worry about it. Just relax. And so they had to drive off and go and get him. And it actually took about another 20 minutes, but it was just, who cares? And I mean, for me, when I used to live in England, you live in London, it's like if the bus is a minute late, everybody's going absolutely mental. It's like, what the hell's going on? Everything is just boom, boom, boom. We're just charging around, rushing around. And in that seeming vibration, whatever you want to call it, and if someone's messed up, it's like, what has that idiot done? I want my keys, get it back here now. And so I could see that beautiful shift in my mind. Just, yeah, that's what actually Mexico's brought to me. I can definitely see why I was brought here. It's like I needed a new playground to play in. And the Holy Spirit was like, yeah, this is going to do you the world of good. You're a bit uptight and you need to learn to relax. And the people here are going to be really, really beautiful reflections of you, because everything's manana, and they don't care about time. So that's going to super help you, and it really, really has. And it's been funny how uptight I used to get when the builders are always late and things like that. Because in England we're like very uptight about time. And so I come to a place where time does not exist. They turn up when they turn up. And now I just join them in that beautiful flow. And they're so relaxed, so beautiful. And so that's one of the beautiful gifts of taking that step, seeming huge step. As David said, it's just the preliminary round of seemingly letting go of your life. Like that's not even nothing. You know, once you start seeing what's really in your mind, that's where the real work starts. But as for moving from one country to another is absolutely nothing. But he knows where you're meant to be. He knows the lessons. And that's what I've seen here. It's seemingly the outward is showing me my mind, you know, it's showing me like, no, there is this peace inside of you. And so that's why I'm here. And he will give you everything that you want, actually. So for a long time, one of my whims, which I didn't actually realise must have been this strong, but it was I like hot weather. I can sit in this all day long. It doesn't bother me. I really enjoy it. And I don't like the winter. I don't like the autumn. I don't like the cold weather. And I used to think, why on earth was I born here? God, in this damp place. I like the summer. I like the spring, but the winter I'm not so keen on. And so the Holy Spirit's, yeah, well, if you follow me, I'll give you your whim. Now I come here, it's summer every day, even the winter's not even cold. And it's like, wow, this is amazing. And so that's an unwinding, that's a wanting of the world. But it's like nothing's going to be taken away from you. He's not saying to me, right, okay, you've got this, but don't sit in the sun any longer. No, you can't do that. Even though it's egoic and you enjoy it and it reconfirms you as a body, it's going to be let go when it's going to be let go of. We're going to use it. We're going to use it for you. You're in a nice temperature that you seemingly enjoy, and you can drive around. You can work in this temperature. It's absolutely great. And yeah, it's like, wow, I got that whim. And now the real work is actually for me is living with others, and I have to be told what to do by seeming others. And so it's like all these lessons. I knew that I had to come here. My next steps were just so obvious. They were just absolutely obvious to me. It's like, well, no one tells me what to do. So the best thing to do is go somewhere where someone's going to tell me what to do. There's certain jobs, there's a lot of jobs that I don't like doing, and I didn't do, and I won't do anything that I don't want to do. I was very firm on that. And I come here and I have a lot of tasks that before I wouldn't have liked to have done. But what my prayer is your prayer will always be answered. And my prayer is to be joyful in everything that I do. Sweeping up, anything, any task. I just want to stay in the joy. And so I knew in my own life, in my seeming own life, which was not really my life, was that I do what I want, but I'm still not happy. I'm not following the Holy Spirit. I'm doing what I want, but it doesn't bring the lessons quick enough for me, and that's the only reason why I'm here. And then the other thing was I used to say this, and it's funny to even say it, but I actually didn't like people that much. I actually didn't like them. I just thought, I'm not really into people. I just do my head in. I just get wound up. I just get annoyed. I can't be dealing with it. So keep a distance from people. When I feel comfortable to talk to people, I will. And I'm quite a jolly person, naturally, but after a while, everybody's doing my head in, and it's time to revert back to my little cave. And so that was a belief, and I believed that, and I believe living with people is an absolute nightmare. And so he says, oh yeah, why don't you go and live with a load of other people and see how you get on? So I could see it was it's all perfect, and I don't feel that any longer. I'm always living with 6, 7 at the minimum amount of people. The amount of people that I've got to interact with every single day, wake up to, is just amazing. And I thought that would be a complete nightmare. Now, how would I have learned that on my own for someone who liked to be on their own? I just wouldn't have learned the lesson. So I had to follow those steps, and it's been absolutely beautiful. And I can't even believe it as I'm sharing this. It's like that whole concept is just being completely and utterly erased. And just going back to the joy the other day, which is so beautiful. I'm just seeing the workers and everything. I had those little thoughts about Einstein. I thought, wow, he beautiful. He came to the realization that it's all about love and joy. God, if he's come to that, then it's got to be on that. We've got to be on the right track. That's all there is to it. And then this beautiful miracle happened. I was walking through the mall, and this lady was going go and get her coffee, and she was walking in front of me, and she had a little dog with her, and this dog seemingly sensed me from behind. He was only a little thing like this, about this big little fluffy thing, and he turned round and he looked at me, and it was just like unbelievable. It was like his eyes were the pure Christ, radiant Christ self, and they were just beaming at me. They were just blasting at me this like pure radiant love. And I was just like, whoa. And then his seeming aura was just like radiating like this. And it was like as if I'd known this dog all my life or something. And it was just like, oh, hello. And I was just like looking at him, and then his little tail starts wagging. And I to be honest, I don't really interact with animals like this, to be honest. It's a very rare interaction for me when I'm out. Animals don't naturally come to me, but this one, and I was like, hello. So I just felt to go down, and then he comes like waddling over to me, this beautiful little dog. And it's like, wow, I'm just like meeting the Christ. It's like, oh, hello, lovely to see you again. That's how it felt like, to be honest. And then he just jumped up on me with his little legs, and then he was wanting to kiss my face and everything. And I was just like stroking him. And it was just, oh God, what a beautiful reflection. Just a beautiful reflection of that love. It was just like pouring out of him, and it was just like, wow, that's just amazing. Of course, it's just the state of my own mind. And that's what we have to take in. As I shared yesterday with a friend, she said, wow, you've had some amazing experiences. And I said, yeah, but me sharing them with you, they're your experiences now. And she's like, what do you mean? Well, it's all of our miracle. You are the miracle. You're hearing this now. This is your experience. That was an experience that happened to me. That happened to us all. The miracle is for us all to share, for all of us to take into our heart. That's why it's so important to share our miracles with everyone, to give hope, to share the joy, to share the love. So that's why we're here, aren't we? That's why I'm sitting here now, to share these little things of what's been happening in my mind, so I can share that joy with you. Yeah, because it's just so touching when things like that happen. It was just like there was just a beautiful emotion just coming up in me. Yeah, because really for me, it's like what I love about the course is that everything is true. And it's like they are ideas until they become an experience. And it feels like, for me, that a lot of the ideas have been experienced. And it's like, wow, it's absolutely true. So I know it, so I don't need to be convinced. I think that's the difficult thing, when you need to be convinced, and I know that stage. I was talking to a new friend, and she said, sometimes I wake up, I just don't feel anything, and I just read the course and I don't feel anything at all. I don't feel anything with the lesson, and I don't feel anything with what I'm reading. And I said, yeah, I felt that. And she was sort of shocked. And I said, yeah, God, I remember that. I wasn't brought up with God, and I'm reading all this thing, Father, Father, and I'm thinking, God alive, what am I supposed to do? How am I supposed to pray? I've never been brought up with any of this stuff. But yet something inside, I just said, just keep going, because it will become a reality. And that's what we're doing. That's why we share our miracles with one another, so it can become a reality. So we're just witnesses to that, to say, okay, I need to experience that for myself. I don't think anybody who's done A Course in Miracles has not has low days and thought, God, I'm not even experiencing anything. And then other days you do feel the beauty. But what I think is what's wonderful about it is all those beautiful experiences that you've had, they can't be fleeting. They can't be. They have to be what you are. And that's the remembering. And that's just what we are doing. That's what we're strengthening our mind until the mind completely and utterly aligns with that beautiful, beautiful truth. And so sometimes we have stronger talks like the Matrix one to snap the mind in place. And of course, I'm grateful for that because that was only for me. I did that solely for me. And it was like, boom, it just like wiped away all the cobwebs in my mind. And that's what I find with all the talks that we do here. It's all about just clearing the cobwebs in my mind. All of the movie talks, everything. It's just the next day, it's just boom, there you go. There's just another clearing of the mesmerism in the mind. Yeah, it's never about the words. The real talking's going on in the background. Just to come to this peace. Yeah, this is where all the prayers are answered. Yeah, I'd like to share my prayer with you. Yeah, the theme that we've been going into is beyond the body. And that's what I want. This is the experience that's eluded me at the moment. I want the full revelation. I want to go into the light completely. I want to completely disappear. I want to really see it, whatever it is. I want to see it for real. The whole thing. And that's just the one that hasn't happened. And so that's what I'm praying for. To go beyond it all. It's the only thing I want. That's the only prayer I have. I really, really want to know it. And again, I know that I can't push the river on that. And that's just whenever the yes is high enough, whenever the desire is high enough. But whatever those steps are, I want to take those steps so I can experience everything that's being offered. And I don't know how to get there. I've tried. It's pretty depressing trying. That's why you don't push the river. It gets really depressing. I've given up on that one. Yeah. It's just when that's ready, but I want to share that with you. I want to strengthen that. In my mind, I feel the strength to share that with everyone, with the whole universe. That's what I really, really want. And maybe this is a time that you want to share your prayer. Maybe you have a really deep prayer in your heart, your deepest prayer of your heart. You can even share it in the chat if you want. It's just a good way of strengthening it in your own mind, to share it with others so we can pray together. Because one prayer is all prayer. Yeah, and even if you feel that you need help with something, and that's just your prayer is where you're at. If you need an answer to something, that's the prayer. That's okay. But when we join like this, it's beautiful to get in touch with really what it is for you. Because this is how I've been waking up every morning. It's been pretty exciting actually to have that theme of beyond the body. It's like, okay, maybe today's the day. Maybe today's the day where I'll go beyond my body. Use it as exciting, and if it doesn't happen, it doesn't matter. Okay, it wasn't for today. Today there are other lessons, but it's all heading in that direction anyway, so nothing can be wasted. Yeah, that's what we all have to remember. That's what I have to remember. Nothing is being wasted. Every moment is so precious. Yeah, so we can really take these prayers into our heart and allow everything to come, to show us the direct experience of what we're asking for. And it will come. It's like waiting for Christmas, isn't it? It's like being a child again and waiting for Christmas. It's the anticipation is like the best bit, isn't it? In a way, it's just so exciting as a child leading up to it, and then finally you get it. Finally, you get the gifts. But the anticipation of Father Christmas turning up is magical, and that's what we're doing. It's miraculous. So yeah, let's expect miracles, everybody. Huge miracles. Amazement, wonderment, completion, realization. That's my prayer. So thank you for joining me again, as always. And I look forward to seeing you next week. Bye for now.